Good morning. This is Sandy Concar along with Peggy Mangan. Hi, Peggy.
Good morning.
And you are joining us on Surviving the Diagnosis. It's happened to all of us. And Peggy and I come together every Monday morning at 10 a.m. here in the U.S. on Eastern Time and bring the patients and their caregivers, or they're also known as their family members, their mom, their sibling, their um, even their friend, to the show and come together on these shows to enhance communication and, more importantly, the understanding that each and every one of us who are affected by a diagnosis is affected in some way. And so we just like to enhance that communication, bring that to the forefront. What we have discussed on previous shows and what we have experienced ourselves, because both Peggy and I have been patients ourselves and caregivers. And we find that we try to focus on the person who is ill or needs assistance more so than on ourselves. And it's important to understand that um, that you need to focus on yourself from time to time throughout the day, not once a week or once a month, but every single day. Allow yourself some personal time to call your own, to read a book, or a chapter or a page. If that's all the time you have, allow yourself whatever time you can find in your day, and make a point of finding that time. One, it's going to help you as the caregiver to better focus, to clear your mind, to just re-energize so you can be there for the person you're caring for. As far as the patient is concerned, asking your loved ones and your caregiver and just stating, I need some time alone. I really appreciate you being here and helping me out every second of the day, but I need some time to myself. And not always do the caregivers realize that. Peggy, I'm sure that you can relate to that, as far as from this, and not feeling guilty. We talked about this a couple shows back, of feeling maybe a little bit of guilt of saying, I just want to be left alone. Um, so it's just important to do that for yourself on both sides of the diagnosis.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and today what we're going to talk about, and we always highlight, come back in on our shows on Monday to highlight the feature story in our newsletter the previous week. And this is on nutrition. This whole month we've been talking about nutrition, but this week is on how to bring nutritious food options into your life when we know that you could just be going like an Energizer bunny, and it's so easy to drive through the drive-through and get junk food just to fill that void in your stomach. So, and something, since I've been on this path of eating organic food and really talking about how important nutritious food is, um, I've come to find out through conversations that not everywhere in the country is food readily available, and quality food, I should say, quality food is available. There's, and I was trying to think of it today, and I apologize for not knowing the exact term, but there's pockets of, in every single state, there's pockets of communities that don't even have a grocery store.
Right.
And here in North Carolina, in the Raleigh area, they were having a food drive for the Interfaith Church, and it was quite big last week, and a lot of advertising and awareness. And that's where I became aware that even in in my state here in North Carolina, these pockets exist. And what they've done is they have a mobile, like it's almost like a motorhome, but it's turned into like a grocery store, and they drive this into communities that don't have grocery stores. um, but what the neat thing is that they have volunteers that teach people excuse me, how to how to cook, what to do with these fresh, nutritious greens. And because not everybody knows, I was amazed one time I was watching the Food Network, and one of the chefs put up like a potato and asked the kids, "What is this?" And the kids had no idea what it was, and it was a potato.
Right. Right.
So there's a strong need for education here in the United States, and also bringing food to our people, because there's so many people that go without food on a daily basis. And it's not just the homeless, it's people that have shelter, they have jobs, but they don't have enough money to stretch the budget. And so they choose what days they're going to eat. So throughout the month. So those are just things that I learned. And but Peggy and I, excuse me, Peggy and I both have a garden. And even if you live in an apartment building, and if you're allowed and you've got a balcony and you're allowed to have plants on that balcony, you can plant a tomato plant or a cucumber plant. And cucumber plants have little feelers that will will grow upward. So you can make like a little
Trellis.
I want to call it trellis. Yeah, so it'll go up and it doesn't overtake. It's not that you need space on the ground for these types of vegetables and fruits. They can actually be trained to grow up, so it takes up less real estate. Um, but Peggy shared a picture of her garden in our newsletter this week, and it's really doing quite well. It looks beautiful.
Well, especially for up here in the north with the winter that we had. But it seems that it really caught up. We've had nice sunshine and not too hot up here this year. So I guess nature balances out. We had that awful cold winter, lots and lots of snow, but this summer is very very user friendly. It's in the range that I absolutely love. It's like 75 degrees most of the time, 60 at night. Just we're here by one of the Great Lakes, and it's just a lovely summer so far.
Mhm.
So yeah, so my garden is really doing well. We have kale, we have tomatoes, we have onions, peppers, spinach, lettuce, and cucumbers. And my husband and I put up a lot of tomatoes because we like tomato dishes in the winter. So it's just exactly what we need to eat as far as putting up. And the fresh stuff that comes out throughout the summer is just really, really, really good for salads. So yeah, I'm loving my garden.
Something I learned in the last couple of years is when, especially even if I go to the grocery store, I don't have it in my garden. I haven't had, our summers are so hot here in North Carolina that I've found it challenging to get the yield that I'm used to from when we lived up north. But what I found is that you can, like when you buy beets, as an example, you can cut off the greens at the tops and wash them up. And I pat them dry so they don't have any moisture on them, lay them out, and then I lay them out on a cookie sheet, and I will put them in the freezer. And uh, my freezers, I have an upright freezer, so it freezes things rather quickly. But so within the hour, it's frozen, and then I take it and I put it into a BPA-free plastic container, or I'll put it in glass jars. I buy the mason jars and just shove them in there and put them back in the freezer. And then I can pull them out for either smoothies or green drinks, juicing, or I can put them when I'm cooking, making spaghetti or something like that. I've started putting in some greens in addition to just the spaghetti. And
Right.
I used to get the big tomatoes seeds, but I'm not a fan of all that, the juice. I like the meat of the tomato. So what we've done is gone to the romaine, not romaine, Roman tomatoes. They're in plum tomatoes.
Roma,
And
yeah, yeah.
Roma, that's it. And what I do is I'll just pick a bunch of them when I need them and throw them in the pan and cook them down. And I make my spaghetti sauce that day. So, and it's really fresh. And then if I want some greens, whether it's the kale or the spinach or even the beet greens, I'll kind of take them out of the freezer, cut them up, and throw them in there, and it just adds nutrition to the meal. So, uh,
Yeah.
you know, even the romaine lettuce you can freeze and put in your green drinks. So, um, and I don't think that there's that. I personally don't feel that there's that much overwhelming taste to the greens in the green drink. So,
No,
but
I agree, Sandy. If you put a little bit of fruit in there or a banana, well, that's a fruit, but I've been putting blueberries and bananas in my
mhm.
smoothies, and they really taste good.
Yeah, and the banana, when you're doing a smoothie, the banana is the thickener, helps thicken things up. And with the banana, it masks some of the stronger flavors.
Right.
Um, the other thing that you can use in a green drink, if you didn't want the natural sugars of the banana, but you could use avocado and use that as a thickener. So that's another option. But as far as having a garden, if you don't have time, it's get some flower pots and some good top. I'd say topsoil, and maybe what is it? A little peat moss and mix it up. And they have I don't know how uh, healthy this is. You know those little uh, crystals that hold the water and expand. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
those are made of. I mean, it was a great idea, but I haven't researched it enough to know what those little things are made of. So those might not be really that good of an option. But you know what might be is they have these glass, and you can get them like at Bed Bath and Beyond or even the dollar store probably. But they're glass bulbs. They're blown glass, and you can put water in there and
Mm-hmm.
just stick it into your pot, and the bulb holds the water and it just gradually waters the plant. So it's not something that you have to be married to every single day. That was
Right.
my biggest thing is with the potted plants. And if you Google wall gardens, you can even I'm thinking of even doing one for my patio or for my screen porch and putting it, for the spices and stuff like that. Um, you can use pallets, wood pallets. Now, there are certain wood pallets. There's a certain, and again, Google it, but there's a wood pallets and which ones are good because there's a certain stamp that they put here in the US that they put on the pallets that says that the wood that you're using is okay to use. Um, if you get
Right.
really get cheap pallets, you don't know what that wood is and what it's been treated with. So you want to do some research on that. Um, and I think what I can do too is I can look up in my files and find the link to those websites. There were like 3 or 4 websites that I had gone to searching. And those are usually people want to get rid of the pallets, so it's something that you can possibly pick up for free, so there isn't a cost involved. And there's another thing that just came to mind that the Interfaith Church Food Drive was doing on their site is they have volunteers that go out into the farmers' gardens, into the fields, because the farmers can only pick certain crops that look really nice to go to market, and a lot of food is left on the ground to rot. And so what the volunteers do is they go out into the field and they get the rest of the food and bring it in and clean it up and then distribute it to people that come to the food bank for the food. So
That's really a good idea.
it is, and it's a great community. Getting
Mm-hmm.
to meet people and just helping others. And But it was amazing the amount of food that is left in the fields. So hopefully those give you some ideas for bringing fresh food into your diet, and maybe take one less trip through the drive-through. um, and
Right.
I know just recently, what I've gone through with my mom, I've said it on previous shows, is that it was just constant. And to then look at the clock and go, oh my God, it's time for dinner, and then start thinking about dinner. Um, and there was so much that needed to be done. It was like, I have to admit, I have gone through the drive-through more in the last 3 months than I have in the last 3 years. But, um, it was just something that we had to do. So I'll uh, just leave it at that and get back to better eating. So, but it's nice to go down to the garden and to pick the fruit and eat it and see what you've what all your work of putting in those vegetables. But you want to be conscious that you're buying from the seed, that you're buying heirloom seeds or
Hmm.
organic seeds, because
Right.
those have not been treated with any chemicals, and they've been preserved. The other is be conscious of the dirt that you're planting them in. Uh, buy organic topsoil, buy organic stuff. Bugs. Everybody's like, oh my God, I gotta kill all these bugs. Well, the bugs are good for you, for your fruits and your vegetables. They take care of other bugs that aren't so good. You can use uh, filtered water and a environmentally conscious soap that you put in the water, and then you spray it on the plants, and that will keep some certain bugs away. And it'll also help on, we usually do it like when the plants start getting a white dusting on them. That seems to help take away, my husband calls it mold, and I'm not sure if that's what it is, but that's what we call it. So, and the soap and the water mixture helps with that as well. So those are just some of the things that we do here with our garden. I would have put a picture in our newsletter this week, but I didn't, because I've not taken very good care of my garden this year. So I would be completely embarrassed in showing you what my garden looks like. But it is still yielding some vegetables, so that's good for us.
Yeah, well, you really didn't have time. You really, you didn't even have time to cook for yourselves. So, you
Yeah,
know, it's understood. That's for
yeah.
sure.
And I didn't have any, excuse me, I didn't have any planters, so I couldn't, transplant them into planters. So uh, I think next year I will be doing a little bit more, a smaller garden, so we can maintain it a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, what did we have? We had tomatoes, we had cucumbers. I have all my spices, my stevia and my parsley and mint. Uh, Onion, chives, garlic, uh, sage, and rosemary. What I've done with those, because I don't, um, I mean, all you have to do is one plant, and that is you've got an abundance of spices. And I will, when time allows, I'll dry them, and I will put them in the blender and get them real fine, and then I'll throw them in the freezer. So I've got good spices throughout the winter. Um, And what else do we put in? Zucchini and yellow squash. I think there was a watermelon out there. And green peppers and banana peppers. My husband likes when I make the banana peppers and put those up. Um, but those are the kinds of things. So again, grow what you customarily eat. Yes, it's a vegetable garden, but if you don't eat Brussels sprouts, then don't plant them. you know,
Right.
so though I don't like Brussels sprouts, but I tried because my mom did, and I didn't have any success with those. But check your local, like in the spring, check your garden clubs that are in your community and see if they have any herb festivals. We have an herb festival here where I live every single year, and that's where we go and get our plants. If we don't plant by seed, that's what we purchase, and they are organic. So we know that we're putting in the food that we want to eat. So um, and they have vegetable stands. Go to your local farmers market if you have one. Go just Google it and put in your area and see what there is available. We have a farmers market that's there every single. I mean, it's open, I believe, every single day. It's really busy on the weekends, and the local farmers come in. They're not even local. I mean, they're from 3, 4 hours away, and they bring their product in to the market. So and it's a nice day to spend time with family. And even as a caregiver, you could, whoever you're caring for, if possible, you could take that person with you, and you just get out into the fresh air and around other people, and it really lifts your spirits. So that's
Mm-hmm.
but nutritious food can help. Oh, there was you could check with online in your area as well if they deliver. Some of the farmers will deliver uh, boxes of vegetables. There's two farms here in my area that they have one central area that they go to every single Wednesday, once a month, or every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of each month, and you go and you pick up your order. You can order it online, and you can pick it up. So that you could do it weekly and you can do it monthly. It's just like what I was talking about last week with the farm I purchased my all the meat from, and you choose how much you want to spend every month, and then they put in the vegetables. Again, you can, if you don't eat beets, you can say don't put beets in there. But the, some of those packages you don't have full control over what goes in them. But usually, if you work with the farmer and you ask them, they'll do the best they can. So we just have to remember we're not the only one that they're they're filling orders for. So
Yeah.
make it as easy as possible for the farmer to know, because they're really doing us a favor, giving us the service that otherwise we wouldn't have that ability to get that kind of good food. So, and you're supporting your
Right.
local farmer, so that's important. So,
Like they say, eat local,
yes,
buy
definitely.
local.
Hmm.
So it's an easy thing to do in the summer usually. But like Sandy said, a lot of these herbs, vegetables, can be put in the freezer. And yeah, it's wonderful to pull out some fresh herb, well, relatively fresh because they still have their scent and their taste when they come out of the freezer. Um, and they're really, it's a delight to put that in a dish and have it in the middle of the winter. I've done that before myself. Dehydrated and crushed up some uh, herbs and stuff, but I find the freezer is is a good thing to utilize. So anyway, yeah, that's a good some very good suggestions, Sandy, and just thinking about you folks that maybe are getting treatment, and you're saying, okay, well, my mouth is sore, which is typical. Um, I feel nauseated, which is very typical. What am I supposed to eat? And we mentioned smoothies, and I think that mixing a lot of these vegetables together with like uh, a banana that gives it consistency and a little bit more palatable, or if you just really wanted to get the vegetables in, yeah, like an avocado. I find avocados are one of the fattier, although it's good fat, but they always bothered me when I was getting chemo. They made me nauseated. So that might bother some people. You just have to trial and error it all. And if you can't chew the food and you do have a sore mouth, which comes from the chemo, it's stomatitis, try blending it and drinking it. That way you're getting the nutrients in. It's a wonderful way to get it in. And I always went for the softer food when I was getting treatment. And when I couldn't eat, when I was in the bone marrow transplant unit, they made smoothies. They made milkshakes per se out of that Boost product, and then they put ice cream in it. And right now we're talking about a lot of sugar and a lot of fat, but the priority is getting calories in when you're sick. So I know it might not be as nutritious as we would want it, but calories are very important to get in when you're getting chemo. So anyway, yeah, really some good suggestions this morning as far as getting a good nutrition going there when you're caregiving and the patient. I just want to remind people that you're listening, watching Surviving the Diagnosis with Sandy Conkar and myself, Peggy Mangan, and we're talking about nutrition and what we can do to boot up our immune system, and that's what it's all about, really. I mean, if you have good nutrition, you're going to have a good immune system. And when your immune system is compromised, it's really, really essential to try to get those nutrients in. And if you have to drink them as opposed to chew them, then so be it. Food is medicine, right, Sandy?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And Hippocrates said that. Let food be thy medicine be thy food. And it is
Exactly.
so true. It's so true. And uh, I will eat certain vegetables in a smoothie that I will not eat otherwise. So what Peggy just said is definitely works. You may look at the combination and go, yuck, but give it a try. Make a small, don't go with the big recipe, don't just try a small and taste test it and see. Again, it's just like what you're going to plant in the garden. If you don't like it, then don't drink it either. So it helps to try new things. There's one drink that I like that and you have to like celery because the majority of the ingredients is celery. But celery, I use lemon, juice of a lemon. I try and get as often as I can. I do try and get an organic lemon. There's such a big difference in flavor and the amount of juice that you get out of the lemon, even the small ones. And either filtered water or what I've been doing is making organic green tea. And instead of just straight water, I'll put the green tea in there because then I'll get additional nutrients from that. So, and it's the lemon, it's celery, and it's the water or I use the green tea. Oh, Peggy, what is it? I usually put in a little bit
Ginger.
of, thank you. That's
Ginger?
what yeah, I usually that's what I was thinking. I put in the ginger. I'm not sure if that recipe is the one that calls for it, but it's a liver detox. And don't let detox scare you. The word detox scare you. What it's doing is it's just cleansing the liver. It's just keeping it healthy and moving out some of the toxins, what you've eaten. Sugar's a
Right.
toxin, secondhand smoke is a toxin, your environment can be toxic. So again, educate yourself on things that your body absorbs through its skin. Skin is one of the largest organs of the body. If you think of as your skin as being an organ, think about what you put on your skin. and what's being absorbed into that skin. It's seconds. Whatever you put on your skin, whether women, you're wearing makeup, any makeup that you put on your body, on your face, is absorbed within seconds into your body, and it's absorbed into the organs. So be very conscious, educate yourself of what ingredients you are putting in on yourself that's going in as well. Um, I'm
Absolutely.
not a, I'm not a fan of um, uh, sunblock. That's just not healthy for you. It's Sun is healthy for you. It gives you a natural way of getting D3, vitamin D3. Um, Again, if you want to be out in it, you don't have to be out in there at the height of the day, noon, and get burned. You don't want that. That's not good. But everything's in moderation, and the sun is very beneficial. And I've been a gardener my entire life, and I'd say that has been my therapy for 45 years or better, since I've actually done my own gardening. And I just get into the ground and just get grounded, and I just love being in the dirt. Something my mom
Hmm.
always told me. She goes, "Why aren't you wearing gloves? You're getting you won't, you're getting your hands dirty or your nails dirty." And I said, "I don't use gloves, Mom." I said, "I love to get as dirty as I can and just get connected with that earth." So
Yeah,
that's another advantage of gardening. It's therapeutic,
it
So
really is. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, it's just something that we've always liked doing, and it's fun to if you've got young kids or kids in general. It's fun to teach them. Here's where the seed is, and this is where it starts, and let's watch it grow, and then look what we can do with it, and honestly, if you're trying to get your kids to eat vegetables, that's a great way because they are involved from the beginning of it, seeing it on the vine, picking it off, and putting it in the dish and eating it. And, just all that, they've been a part of all that growth, and now they're enjoying the flavors and eating it. So it might help people realize that throwing away stuff, there's just too much that goes into that plant so it could produce. And to just throw it away, it's sad sometimes to see that happen. But um, if I wanted to also mention that if you're watching us on Google Hangouts or if you're watching us on our Facebook page, feel free if you've got any questions or comments. This, our shows every Monday are for you. It's all about you, and it's whether you're the patient or, as we said, the caregiver. Um, the diagnosis has happened to all of us. And if you have any questions, we're here to help support you in any way that we possibly can. And most of our focus is on emotional health. Uh, Nutrition we've talked about is good for the body and keeping it strong. Finding time, making time to sleep, whether it's 15 minutes or it's 8 hours. If you can calm your mind and your body enough to get a good, solid sleep, it doesn't really matter uh, what the duration is. I have read many times from doctors who have said if you cat naps, 15, 20 minutes, half hour, those are very beneficial throughout the day to help you re-energize. But if you've got so much on your mind or you're experiencing pain yourself, um, we can help you eliminate that through reducing the negative emotions that are going on in your day. So the
Right.
shows are all about you. They're for you. They're for your support. They're complimentary. We're here every Monday morning, um, as long as there isn't an emergency. But for the most part, I think over the last year we've really only missed 2 shows. But then if we miss a show, uh, there's always the replay that's available on our Facebook page. Also over at survivingthediagnosis.com, you can click on replay and watch the replays. Um, and also we have available for the, like, if you wanted a little bit more personal mentoring, we offer Surviving the Diagnosis membership. It's monthly, and it's called Freedom and Peace Community. And we came to that name because Peggy, when you were going through your treatments and everything, you said that to me that all you were looking for was peace.
Yes, peace of mind.
Yeah.
It just would never come uh, when you're hanging on the edge waiting for the next test to show results. So that is truly our goal with clients that are going through treatment and their caregivers, is to give them a way to achieve peace of mind. And we do that through tapping. We tap on certain meridian endpoints of the body. And what that does is it helps you relax. The body emits serotonin and oxytocin, and those are natural, relaxing chemicals in the body. So our goal, and I so I so promote this because that's what I found. I did find peace of mind, and I worked with a life coach, and we worked on the things that were bothering me and that did bother me through the treatment, and things you don't even think about. Just hearing those words, "you have cancer," is a huge trauma, very, very huge. And it's not only for the patient, it is also for the caregiver. That changes their life totally as well. From that moment on, the caregiver and the patient, their life has changed. And if you can just come to peace with what you heard, that doesn't mean you have to accept it and say, "Oh, well, good, I've been diagnosed with cancer." No, it's releasing the trauma that was caused by hearing that. And believe me, and I know a lot of people know this, that it's a trauma. And if you can get rid of it, we offer that every week, every Monday morning. We'll tap with you. Even if you don't want to be on the program, offer some suggestions on tapping. You can write us a little note on Facebook. You can say, "Well, I've been diagnosed and I just can't rest. I just cannot," and you can't rest. Your body has two major dynamic processes that if one is working, which that's the fight-flight one, then the repair process cannot work. It doesn't work. So you have to get off the fight-flight in order for repair to happen. And when repair happens, it can do some amazing things. But you have to be taking care of that cortisol that is flooding your bloodstream, that we all get when we get triggered or nervous or frightened. And a cancer patient, I can say it honestly, you never get off of that. It's always one test away. And if you can find a mechanism, and don't just, if people don't have to ascribe to our mechanism, they can find a practitioner and do it on their own. But Sandy and I are here with oodles of credentialing, and we can help so many of you just get off of that fight-flight merry-go-round, the roller coaster of emotions, we call it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. And if you're listening, feel free to go into the Q&A section. And if you'd like to tap on, we've got some time that we can do some tapping on something specific to your needs today, even. But it's just tapping on the trauma, or maybe you know that you're so overwhelmed with this news that you just simply tap. And I call it your silent awakening. Because when I was first introduced to tapping, I didn't feel I needed it. I was on a journey for my son after his accident, and needing to find a solution for his paralysis. And so I was very gently informed that with the words of you need to heal first. And whether you're the patient or the family member or even the friend, you need to heal first. And what that means is that you need to acknowledge the feelings that you're feeling, even if they're angry or sadness or you feel guilty. Um, Healing yourself and releasing those negative attachments to those feelings is your first step in healing. It's your first step in also quite possibly preventing anything from manifesting down the road for you. Because when we hold on to these negative feelings, they get trapped in our body and they fester. You use words or statements like, "Oh, it's just eating at me. This guilt is just eating at me," um, and so that is
It
your
literally
subconscious.
is.
It literally does begin to eat at you, and so
Yes.
even if you're not thinking about it every single day, it's in your energy system. It's in your subconscious, and every time something triggers that feeling, it eats at you and it triggers it and reawakens it, and it just keeps going at you. So it's
Yeah.
very beneficial to address the situation. So again, if you're listening on Google Hangouts, you're welcome to click into the Q&A and ask your questions or put down a specific topic. And again, Peggy said, even if you're listening to a replay and you have questions, email us at hello@survivingthediagnosis.com. And one of us will definitely get back with you, and we'll have it we can tap around the issues on the next show. If you're interested in the membership, it is at survivingthediagnosis.com/membership. And that will take you right to the membership page of Freedom and Peace. And that will explain all the benefits that the show or the membership has to offer. And it just brings us together once a month and helps you. We work with you live on a Google Hangout, and we work on your stuff. So, and teach you. We don't just do it. We teach you the tools, and so you can work on your own stuff throughout the month. And when we get together, if you're stuck on something, we'll help you, because it really is benefit. It's nice to have the tools to do the self work. It truly is. But sometimes things are so deep and deep inside of us, we've hung around with them or hung on to them for so long that they actually become a part of us. And so there's like a resistance of letting that go. Because one, you may not know who you are without that thing that's part of you. So sometimes working with a practitioner is more beneficial because we help you through that process of letting go and releasing. Um, and sometimes you have to take it in little steps to release that. Sometimes it'll just release itself. And really, it's up to you and your body and how quickly you release things. So just to give you a little bit of insight on where a practitioner comes into play. It's very, very beneficial. But if you choose to do it yourself, that works as well. So. But again, if you want to type in a question or put in a topic that you're interested in tapping on, go ahead. It's over at the Q&A section. That actually, I think even if you're watching on YouTube, there's a little pop-up in the bottom of the screen that says ask a question or join the conversation, and so you can click onto that. So there's many ways of reaching out to us.
And Facebook. You can go on our Facebook site too.
Yeah, and you go to facebook.com/surviving the diagnosis, and then there's an icon. They've moved it, so you have to scroll down a little bit. It's on the left-hand side. It's a yellow and white icon that says Live Hangouts. You can click onto that, and that will take you to our other page. And our live broadcast right now is playing there. And at the bottom, you can ask your questions in that format as well. You want to be careful with that, just that if you want your question to just be private to Peggy and I, and we work on it here, we can do that. Just make sure you have that little check mark unchecked because for posting it to your Facebook page, because that, I believe, is a default, and it will automatically, I'm trying to find it, so give me a second here. It will scroll down here and see. Yeah, it will give you the option to post it on publicly or privately. So if it's private, we can see it. If it's public, it'll go on um, your timeline, so everybody will see your question. But feel free to ask questions. Is there anything that you want to tap on today around? You had mentioned, Peggy, releasing the trauma. Is that something that we want to tap on, or just
Sure,
say,
we can do a quick tapping for people,
okay?
show them what it's all about, and I can always use it. I never turn it down.
Yeah.
Well, almost never. Once in a while I do, but um, I would like to tap on um, the fact that I can't eat everything I want to eat when I'm getting treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and that frustrates me. And now, folks, I'm out of treatment by several years, but I certainly know what you're going through, and I certainly remember. And that was always an issue for me. Um, if you lose weight, then you lose your immune system. It just goes, and you get sicker, and then you get opportunistic infections, and you sure don't want to do that when your white count is way down. So, yeah, I my mouth was sore. I'll just lay it on the line here. When you get some chemo agents, they create blood blisters in your mouth, and it's so sore to eat. And that's one of the side effects that many, many cancer patients get. So, um, yeah, we can tap on that.
Okay. So when you think, so then I'll just invite the audience to go ahead and think of maybe when, if you are a cancer patient and you've gone through the treatment, maybe you can focus on this particular issue. If not, pick another one and then just follow the steps that we're going to talk about, and we'll check back in, even though and then you'll follow tapping along with us. If you are not familiar with tapping, uh, the tapping diagram, we have that available over at, well, in several places. When you get the reminder of our shows on Monday morning, we have a link in that reminder. We have a link in our newsletter to the tapping diagram. And I believe I have it up here. Let me see real quick. I do. It's over here. Nope, that's not it either. Hmm. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Sorry. Nope, that's not it. Okay. We'll do the tapping points, and so you can follow along. If you want the tapping diagram, just go over to survivingthediagnosis.com and opt in for the replays, and you'll get the link to that right now. I thought I had put that up for today, and I did not, so I apologize. And I will put that link in our resources page for the show as well. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to look at your issue, and then, Peggy, I know you're not in treatment anymore, but when you think about um, that statement you made that you can't eat everything that you want, how, on a 0 to 10, and you said that you were frustrated, so about that, on a 0 to 10, how strong is that frustration now, today, when you think about
hmm When I bring that memory back into my awareness, I recall it being about a 8.
that? Okay. And where do you feel that 8 reside? How do you know you have that 8 around this topic?
feel it in my throat.
Okay. And is that closed, or is it just burning? Is it tight? Is it scratchy?
It's tight, but yet it feels. I can almost feel that sensation again. It burns. They do give you some medication to numb your throat before you eat, but it just didn't work well for me.
Okay. And on a 0 to 10, the tightness that you're feeling in your throat right now when you talk about it.
8.
Okay. And what about the burning? Do you feel what that burning is?
Yeah, that's about a 7, 8 as well.
Okay, so they're pretty high up there. Okay.
Hmm.
And I know you said that it frustrates you, but is there any other emotion that is related to this lack of
Yeah,
being
anger.
anger? Okay. All righty.
Anger is really a common emotion with people that are getting treatment. You know, despite the fact that you know you have to get this treatment and you do have a serious disease, you're pissed off.
Mhm. Yeah. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how angry is that?
9.
All righty. Okay. So let's, again, we're going to do the tapping. If I say something and it does not resonate true to you, please step in there and say, nope, this means more, and we'll go with that because it's your healing that's the most important thing. So we'll start on the karate chop, and that is on either hand, and it's between the wrist and the little finger right here. So just tap lightly, and everybody, I invite you to tap along. So
Even though
I can't eat everything that I want
I can't eat everything that I want
when I'm in treatment,
when I'm in treatment,
and it really angers me,
and it really angers me,
really frustrating.
really frustrating.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
accept who I am,
accept who I am,
even though I'm very angry right now.
even though I'm very angry right now, and it turns to sadness almost at the same time.
Okay.
So maybe it's a pity party.
Oh, okay. So even though I'm very angry,
Even though I'm very angry,
and it brings sadness into my life,
and it brings sadness into my life.
maybe it's just my own pity party.
Maybe it's just my own pity party.
I'm going to allow that right now.
You can allow that right now.
I'm allowed to be pissed off.
I'm allowed to be pissed off.
Look what's going on with my body.
Look what's going on with my body.
How dare that happen to me?
How dare this happen to me?
What gives that the right to do this to me?
What gives that
That
the right to do this to me?
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept where I am in my anger,
accept where I am in my anger,
even though I am so pissed off.
even though I am so pissed off.
And it's been quite a while since this happened to me.
It's been quite a while since it's happened to me, but it's right there again right now.
It, it is right there, right now.
Right there,
All
right
the
now.
things I couldn't eat.
All the things I couldn't eat and the frustration around that.
And the frustration around that. I deeply and profoundly accept who I am.
I deeply and profoundly accept who I am.
On the eyebrow point, right at the beginning of your eyebrow. And I always use my two fingers like this together. All this anger
All this anger.
on the side of the eye that I couldn't eat
I couldn't eat
what I wanted to eat.
what I wanted to eat.
And when I think about it,
And when I think about it,
it brings sadness
it brings sadness,
and
pity party,
frustration. No, the pity party.
and
Opening
frustration.
under the arm. I couldn't eat what I wanted.
I couldn't eat what I wanted,
And it really frustrates me.
and it really frustrated me.
And it frustrates me now, just thinking
It
about it,
frustrates me now just thinking about it,
even though it was so long ago.
even though it was so long ago.
I have all this frustration and anger pent up.
I have all this frustration and anger pent up.
It's still deep inside of me.
It's still deep inside of me.
I pushed it down
I pushed it down
and I ignored it,
and I ignored it,
but it's still there.
but it's still there.
It just raised its ugly head.
It just raised its ugly head.
And that's 9 years from now. It's 9 years
That was almost 9 years ago.
and it's still with me.
Yep, I could pull it right out.
I pulled it right out.
I did. I pulled it right out.
I have all this anger and frustration around this issue
I have all this anger and frustration around this issue,
that I could not eat what I wanted to eat.
that I could not eat what I wanted to eat, what I was supposed to eat.
What I was supposed to eat.
Hmm.
It hurt my mouth.
Oh, it hurt my mouth.
I had such tightness and burning.
I had such tightness and burning.
And here they give me more drugs
And here they gave me more drugs,
that it was supposed to take care of that pain.
and it was supposed to take care of that pain,
And it didn't.
and it didn't.
And that's frustrating.
And that's frustrating.
This whole thing around what this treatment did to my mouth.
A whole thing around what this treatment did to my mouth and my body,
And my body really frustrates me.
and it really frustrates me.
All this frustration,
All this frustration,
this anger,
this anger,
I'm willing to let it go.
I'm willing to let it go.
I'm releasing it now.
I am releasing it now.
And Peggy, what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes while you're tapping. I want you to visualize where that pissed off, frustration, anger, and sadness are residing. And if it's in different parts of your body, let me know.
Well, it's in my stomach, but it's not nearly as strong.
Okay. And what's in your throat? Is there anything still in your throat?
No.
Okay. So right now it's in your stomach.
Yes.
Okay. And I'd like you to visualize all of this that's been sitting here in your stomach. And say, I'm willing to release this now.
I'm willing to release this now.
I'm able to release this now.
I'm able to release this now.
I'm able to eat anything and everything I wish.
I'm able to eat anything and everything that I wish.
I'm releasing all of this pent-up frustration and anger
I'm releasing all of this pent-up frustration and anger
around the fact that I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat.
around the fact that I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat.
And I want to have a conversation with my stomach.
And I want to have a conversation with my stomach.
That I am protecting it now.
That I'm protecting it now.
And it can accept any food that I eat.
It can accept any food that I eat.
Without any side effects.
Without any side effects.
And just visualize all of that anger and frustration around not being able to eat what you wanted. And just visualize it coming up gently and releasing and dissipating and disintegrating. And when that comes up gently and releases, let me know when that occurs.
Yeah, it's just lifting right now.
Okay.
I felt the shift. was a definite shift.
Wonderful. And so just continue to tap. I've released all of this sadness and anger
I've released all the sadness and anger
around the fact that I couldn't eat what I wanted to.
around the fact that I couldn't eat what I wanted to.
And I'm imprinting
And I'm imprinting
that I am able to eat whatever I choose now
that I'm able to eat whatever I choose now
because I am healthy
because I am healthy
and I don't have those restrictions anymore.
and I don't have those restrictions anymore.
I am healthy now.
I'm healthy now.
I live in freedom and peace.
I live in freedom and peace.
I'm just taking a really deep breath.
Oh, excuse me.
And so when you think back at that statement, I can't eat everything that I want. How does that feel right now when you make that statement that you couldn't eat everything that you wanted?
It feels wrong.
Okay. And the tightness in your throat?
It's gone.
Okay. And what about the burning?
It's gone as well.
Okay, great. Now, you said that you had anger and you were really pissed off. That was a 9.
Yeah, that dissipated into sadness, the
Mm-hmm.
pity party, but the sadness is gone. Um, yeah, that was then, this is now, and it just seems like it was so long ago now.
Mm-hmm. And so, we did that. You had some pretty intense emotions around something that happened 9 years ago, and we were able to release that. That was really, it was in your throat, but yet it was also residing in your stomach. So
Yeah, that's a good
it,
thing. That's all good that
mm-hmm,
we released it. And that's just a perfect example that these things stay with you. I
mm-hmm,
was able to access that and really didn't think about it in my everyday life until now.
mm-hmm.
And thank you, Sandy, because I got rid of another chunk.
Well, the thing too is because what you just said is that you didn't think about it. It wasn't everyday thought that I couldn't eat what I wanted, but just through conversation, it triggered that thought, it triggered that situation, and it triggered the emotions, and it triggered several emotions that were related to that one incident
Right.
or one situation, I should say, because we could have gotten really specific in picking one day, one meal, one piece of food that you wanted to eat and you couldn't. So, I mean, we can get more specific. And again, that's what the kind of things that we really do that detective work in our membership is that we get to the core issues and really take them apart if needed. Not every time is it needed, but it triggered, just so you know that the audience listeners know that it is so easy to trigger a negative thought and and a
Yes.
memory. And it doesn't
And
matter if it happened yesterday or it happened 50 years ago. It's still
really,
within your energy system. So I'm
yes,
glad that we were
yes.
able to move that for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We love to doing that. That's what we do. So, and we love it. And again, I do want to say that if you're now you were pretty high on the 0 to 10. The 1 was a 9, but if it had gone up to higher than a 9, or if you started out at a 6 and it went up to a 10, you always want to continue to tap and bring that intensity back down to the original number that you started with or below. Um,
Right.
so,
Always keep tapping. If it goes up, keep tapping.
yeah, and just on all the points, it's just keep going, tapping along, and it will come down. because you don't want to stay in that heightened state, because then you've defeated the purpose of why you began to tap. So now, once you bring it down, if you don't want to tap anymore, it was really too much, then just allow that to be okay and revisit it at a later date. And that's another reason why we always invite you to start a journal or have a designated notebook. So when you have things that are that come up, that are triggered, memories reminding that you're reminded of a memory, that write them down so you have them and you can see what you are addressing. And this may not have been a topic that was your issue, and when you're on the show and you're listening and you're going, oh, I can't think of anything. If you have your notebook or your journal in front of you, it helps to have that list so you can go, oh yeah, I want to work on that today. So it's always beneficial. Plus, and I don't advocate to go back into where you've been, but it's always helpful to sometimes see, especially on those days that you feel like you've taken about 10 steps back. But if you revisit a couple days back in your journal, you can actually see how far you've come. And that can help you get through the days that you feel that you're stuck. So journals and or a designated notebook are very beneficial. And
Yes.
and I know we're over the time, but I wanted to make mention that we are going to be in Nashville next week. Or actually this week. What am I talking about? Gosh, it's already Wednesday. We're going out to Nashville, and we're
Yes.
attending the National Women's Survivors Convention, and it's 3 days. It starts on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if you're out in the Nashville area or you're coming down to the convention, please stop by. We have a booth number 17, and we would love to chat with you. And let us know that you see us on Google Hangouts. We would love to. Maybe we'll even broadcast if that's something that's possible and doable. We could do a little Google Hangout at the table. We'll see.
Right,
Um,
right. Would love to do that and love to meet anybody that comes down.
yeah,
Woohoo.
yeah. And it the convention, I'm just amazed at the amount of things that are available to the survivors. And they also have an event on Friday for the partners of the survivors that come in, and they're having just a little side thing for them. So they are included because they're the caregivers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I thought that was
They're-
very, very nice that they're including the caregivers. It's very
yes.
important. So that'll be interesting. And
They are the unsung heroes. The caregivers are the unsung heroes.
they also have planned a 5K walk run, and it's being held at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville. It's a gorgeous facility, and even if you're not staying at the hotel, you can come in to the atrium, the inside atrium. It's just beautiful. So I'm very much looking forward. I've been there a couple times, and looking forward to going back.
I've never
And
been there. I'm
um,
looking big time forward to it.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to you experiencing it, because I think
Yeah.
you'll be amazed at how beautiful it is. So, and we
Uh,
went
can't wait.
one year we went in October. I think it was the end of October, the first part of November, and they were already starting to decorate for Christmas. It takes that long for them for the holidays, for them to decorate and put the lights up, and it's
Oh
just,
my gosh.
yeah, it's gorgeous. So, but well, we are way past our time, but I always like to get some tapping into every show, even if it runs us over. And you can listen to the replay and know that we have tapping on every show. So if for whatever reason you want to skip through our chat and our conversation and get right to the tapping, it's typically about 30 minutes into the show, and if it's past that, it's definitely the last 15 minutes of it. So we definitely want to bring that into it. And yeah, so I think next week we'll talk about how great the convention was, and I'm just looking forward to it. So
Me
yay.
too.
Any
It'll
closing
be
thoughts,
great.
Peggy?
No, just you're not alone. We're here for you
Hmm.
every week, every Monday. We are here for you.
Yep. And that your hopes and your dreams are always within reach. So come on and join us, and we'll help you along your journey, help you reach those hopes and dreams. So until next week, we shall see you. Have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye bye.